For a moment, instead of talking about investing, let's use a little analogy here and look at it from a farmer's perspective. Let's say you were a farmer and the government gave you a choice of being taxed on your penny seeds. You were going to buy seeds for a penny a packet, and you were going to plant those seeds in the spring, and you were going to plant them and fertilize them and water them and nurture them all summer long. And at the end of the summer, you were going to have in the fall a robust $1 million harvest that you were going to bring to the marketplace. Would you rather be taxed on the penny seeds or the $1 million harvest? I think most people today say, don't tax me now on the penny seeds. In other words, most consumers today put away $200, $300, $400 a month in their qualified plans at work. And they say, don't tax me now. Let it grow for 20 to 30 years in a qualified plan and tax me down the road in distribution. Well, the big question is are we going to be in a higher tax bracket now when we're earning or down the road when we're in retirement? I think many people believe we'll be in a higher tax bracket then. Why? Well, if we understand aging baby boomers and macroeconomics and the fact that the government is going to need more and more revenues year after year after year, but have a smaller population of workers to tax and a greater number of baby boomers retired that are going to depend on Social Security, healthcare, so forth and so on, many people believe that the tax brackets will go up. Matter of fact, we are currently enjoying some of the lowest tax codes that we've seen in over 40 years. But let's say, for example, we're in the exact same tax bracket today and in the future, because there's no way for us to know for sure if it's going to be higher or lower. So let's just assume conservatively that we'll be in the same tax bracket in the future that we are today. Okay? So for the same tax bracket, and we're saving, let's say, $300 a month times 12 months, that's $3,600 a year we're putting into a retirement vehicle. Let's say we're in a 25% income tax bracket. Then over the course of that year, we're going to save $900 in tax savings. If we are saving for retirement for 30 years times 30 years, then we're going to save $27,000 in taxes over the course of our 30 years of investing and saving for retirement. Okay. So when we're young and in the earning stages of our life and the saving stages of our life, how do we protect our income from taxes? Well, the first way that we protect our income from taxes, most people, is interest on their home. That is a very easy tax deduction. Nobody questions it. It's legitimate. It's fair. And so people use the interest payments on their home as a way to lower their income taxes. Number two, they use dependent children. All of us get certain write-offs for having children. That's a good write-off. That's a legitimate write-off, and that helps us to lower our taxes. Number three, we use contributions to qualified plans. And that's a legitimate tax deduction. So you can see here, as we're making contributions to a qualified plan month after month, year after year, that's a legitimate tax savings for us. And then number four is reasonable business expenses. If we're in the kind of business where we can write off some expenses, those are sort of the big four that people use year after year when they're in this stage of their life. Now we fast forward to the future. If we're going to be, let's say, for example, in that same income tax bracket, 25% in the future, okay, then let's take a look at it. Let's say that we were going to live on 6% of this money, which would be $60,000 per year in income in retirement. If we're in the same income tax bracket of 25%, then what that's telling us is we're going to pay $15,000 per year in taxes. So over the course of 30 years here, we saved $27,000 in taxes. Now, over the course of our first 2 years of retirement, we have paid more in income taxes over the first 2 years of retirement than we saved in income taxes over 30, which means if the average retirement is going to be 25 years plus, that means we've used up all of our tax savings in 2 years, and we've got 23 years of not saving anything on taxes. Now, if our income is going to be exposed to taxes in retirement, how do we protect our income from taxation in retirement? Well, the interest on our home, normally in retirement, That's not an option. Why? Because for most people, their house is either paid off or it's in the last 10 years of paying it off when it's all principal and very, very little interest. Number two, in retirement, we're probably not going to have dependent children, so we lose that as a write-off. Number three, we're not going to be contributing to qualified plans in retirement. We're actually going to be pulling money out of qualified plans in retirement. So that's going to actually increase our income tax exposure. It's not going to be a tax savings for us. And lastly, that business expenses. Will we have business expenses in retirement? Well, the idea of being retired is to be out of business, so that wouldn't be the case. So what many folks do is they save their money month after month, year after year for 25 or 30 years in a vehicle, and they're trying to save money on their penny seeds. They're trying to save taxes here. And they're saving in a vehicle where they have little or no access to the money till when? Till age 59 and a half. Most people don't realize that. Now, even though they have access to it at 59 and a half, most Americans can't afford to access the money till age 65. And then at what point, whether we want to or not, must we start pulling money out of this pile? Does anybody know? When we sign up for the retirement plan here, does anybody let us know that we won't have access without tax, without penalties till 59 and a half? And does anybody let us know at what point must we start pulling out the money? Usually not. We must start in the U.S. pulling out the money at age 70 and a half. Why is that? There's something called required minimum distributions, or RMDs. And if we don't pull the money out that the government requires us to by 70 and a half, there is a 50% tax penalty based on the amount that we were supposed to have pulled out. So when we put it away in this vehicle, not only do we not save as much in taxes as we could, but additionally, we've got only real access on our money for about 11 years, and in most cases for about 5.5 years. There are other vehicles in the marketplace that we go ahead and pay our taxes today, but we avoid taxes in the future. Those vehicles would include a Roth IRA or permanent insurance, which in many cases gives us access to the money prior to 59 and a half, gives us tax benefits in these years when we most need it, and can help us to prepare for an even more secure retirement. Cut.